You want the look, you want how it looks, but you don't want to pay for the whole thing. Hello, hi friends and family. My name is Blouse and this is Sufi DIY. Sufi stands for show up for yourself. If you're here for the very first time, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. I really appreciate you. What we do here on the Sufi DIY channel is that we keep a lookout for the current trends of this season. But you know that trends of the current cycle are always going to be pricey because they are the hottest thing. But what we do is that we go to thrift stores, we go to the sales sections of shops of clothes that are of the previous cycle, and we manipulate them to create what we want for the current season. So right now, what is hot are summer sets, two-piece sets, and that is what we are going to do today. What we are making in today's tutorial is what I'm actually wearing right now. It used to be a long maxi shirt dress that I knew was definitely not my style, so I would never ever wear it. It would be a total waste for me to buy it and keep it in my wardrobe. So I decided to turn it into a top and a wrap skirt that I would definitely wear to a date night or a night out with friends or a day out with friends because it's definitely my style. And I hope that you can try it yourself.
So what you're seeing on the left is the raw material, which was a maxi shirt dress. What you see on the right is the final product, which is a blouse and a matching wrap skirt. To create your own blouse and matching wrap skirt, you're going to have to start with part 1, which is cutting the maxi shirt dress into the necessary pieces. As much as we are creating a two-piece, I would love to wear the pieces differently at some point, so that is why I have turned the dress inside out and I am making marks against my body so that I know the exact length of the top, and from there we can know what will be left over for the skirt and for the straps. Right after making the markings with a washable marker, we will be able to see the length of the top, how long the skirt will be, and the remaining middle section will be the straps of the wrap skirt. Now after we've made the markings against our body, we go to the workstation. I'm going to stress this again. Make sure that the marking pen you're using is washable. If it's not washable, let it be a chalk or a pencil, because if you use a pen that is permanent, you don't know how that particular ink is going to react against the fabric when there is water involved. So stay safe with a washable marking pen, a pencil or chalk. Now we are drawing straight lines using a ruler and whatever marking instrument that you are using. Remember that the top needs to have a sewing allowance. I have not made a line for the sewing allowance, but remember the 2 centimeters above the line that you have drawn for the blouse will be used for sewing allowance. The thickness of the middle section depends on how long your shirt dress is. My shirt dress is a maxi, so I have allowance for thick straps in the middle. You will see later on how thick my straps are. If you have a shorter shirt dress, you need to remember that that last section is going to be a skirt. So you're going to have to make thinner straps in the middle there. But you'll see later on how I make my straps, and then you will make a judgment based on the type of shirt dress and the length of the shirt dress that you are going to be using. So now you should have 3 pieces, which is the bottom part, which was going to be used as a skirt, the middle section, which is the straps for the skirt, and you have your top.
Okay, I said this in the introduction, but just to emphasize, the point here is not to learn how to sew or to sew it yourself if you can't sew. So you can keep going if you cannot sew, because you need to prepare the cut out items for the person who's going to sew it for you. That way they won't charge you for that part and they will only charge you for the sewing. So basically, you want the look, you want how it looks, but you don't want to pay for the whole thing.
Now that we are done with the cutting of the pieces from the maxi shirt dress, we are going to move on to the preparation of the pieces for what we need. The first one that we are going to work on is the blouse. Our top is pretty much already done, unless you want to do something special to it. The only thing we need to do is to just sew the bottom so that the thread does not run. So remember, we said that the 2 centimeters at the bottom of the top is what we use for the sewing allowance. 1 centimeter needs to be folded in first, and then you iron that down, which I did off camera like that, and then you fold it again with the other centimeters, basically doubling it, sew it down. If you are the one who's going to sew it, then sew it and it would look like this. And if you're not going to sew it, then put it aside and move on to the next item. After preparing the top for sewing, we move on to the wrap skirt. With the wrap skirt, the very first thing we prepare are the straps of the wrap skirt so that we can wrap it like a wrap skirt. So you remember we only had one piece that was left or cut out in the middle section of the shirt dress. I decided to cut off another 8 centimeters of the skirt because it was going to be too long, and I felt like I didn't want to make the straps too thin. So I decided to cut another 8 centimeters of the skirt fabric, and now with the thicker part at the bottom, which was just above 16 centimeters, I cut it in the middle to have the 3 pieces that are of equal thickness of about 8 centimeters. Okay, the bottom 2 pieces are far from perfect. Their edges are jacked up, but it's okay. We are just going to have to make a plan with the allowance of the straps. Because we cut them to be 8 centimeters, we were gonna have 1 centimeter allowance, making them 7 centimeters. Now we are gonna make the allowance to be 2 centimeters, making the straps to be 6 centimeters. I hope that was understandable. Okay, now as you just saw, we cut one of them to make it one long strand. We cut it out because it was a loop, because it was the dress was closed, so we cut off one closed side to make one long strand, and we put the other 2 aside so that we can work on just the one. What we do on the one is exactly what we are going to do on the other 2. So then we open up both sides, make it look like that. Then what we do is we turn it inside out. Make sure that the side that is supposed to be on the inside of the dress is what you see right now, and the side that is the right side up is on the inside of the folded piece. And you iron them down to prepare them for sewing. That's for easy sewing. You just iron them down like that. Now that the 2 straps are done, you're going to do the exact same thing with the other straps, which are going to be 4. You're going to have 4 more, which gives you 6. What I did here is I made a straight line using a ruler, using the marking pen as well, so that the sewing is done close to perfect because the cutouts were not perfect. Remember, the side that we're seeing, the side we were able to draw on and sew on, is what is supposed to be inside. And what we want to do now is to turn these straps inside out. Usually people use a safety pin to do this method, so that they can just push down the safety pin from one end to the next. People do different methods. I use this method where I use a crocheting needle. I grab it on the one end and I just pull it slowly until I get to the end. Then I just pull it out with my hand and it looks like that, looking like a tube. Do this for all 6 strands for the top of the wrap skirt. And then what will be favorable is for you to iron them down. So you can see they are wet. That's because my iron does not have a cap for the water dispenser. And now we move on to the main part of the skirt. You turn it inside out in case you need to make any markings and for the sewing. With this part of the skirt, we just have to separate the front part and the back part. The only thing that can be cut or messed up is the thread that is holding the 2 pieces together. Be careful with the 2 pieces of the skirt because you're going to need them to be in good condition. So now you have 2 pieces that look exactly alike, the front and the back. If your skirt is asymmetrical, obviously it's not going to be exactly alike, but you will have 2 pieces like this. Then the next thing that you will do here is to prepare the top part for the sewing so that it can be attached to the straps that we have just prepared. And then you will fold them like so that you can iron them down. After you've ironed down both the pieces, they should look like so. Never mind the watermarks on the fabric. Those are caused by the iron because I ironed down all the pieces afterwards. That is what the strands are supposed to do for our wrap skirt. Lucky for us, they are more or less the same length, but even if they were not, because we cut off the connectors of the sides like so, this particular piece does not have the same length as the actual main piece of the skirt, but that's fine because we are going to attach more of the straps, which we'll see in a minute. Remember that this is a wrap skirt and we are going to need straps for wrapping. So that has been sewn to 2 more pieces. 2 more pieces just like that are sewn to one side of one piece. And then we are going to do exactly the same thing to the other piece. But we're not going to sew the 2 straps on the same side. We are going to sew them on the other side of it. So there should be strands on the right side and strands on the left side, and then the edges that do not have strands are going to be sewn together right down the edges to create one skirt. Once we sew them together, they will look like so. This is how you're going to wrap it. That iron section will be right in the middle. You wrap it like that and right over just like that.
Thank you so much for making it to this part of the video. If you like the content of today, please give me a thumbs up. And if there's a summer set that you have been eyeing out in these streets and you'd like me to try out, please leave me a comment in the comment section below, or actually you can DM me on my Instagram account, which is @officially_glossy. Connect with me there, send me a picture, screenshots, write me something of a tutorial that you would like me to do for a summer set that you would like to rock.